Hi and hello. Today we are going to talk about a super cool idea that could change your life. It's called the 80-20 principle or the Pareto principle. But don't worry, we are keeping things simple here. Let me start with a quick story about my friend Mike. Mike was always busy, always running around like a headless chicken. He had a long to do list and never seemed to get through it. He was stressed, tired, and felt like he wasn't getting anywhere in life. Then one day, Mike learned about the 80-20 principle. At first, he thought it was some complicated mathematical algebra, but really, it's just a simple idea that can make a big difference. So, what's this 80-20 principle all about? Well, it basically says that in many areas of life, 80% of our results come from 20% of our efforts. Sounds a bit weird, right? Let me break it down for you. Imagine you have a garden with 10 apple trees. You might find that 8 of your apples, that's 80%, come from just 2 of those trees, that's 20%. The other 8 trees only give you 2 apples. That's the 80-20 principle in action. Now, let's think about how this applies to our daily lives and work. Find your golden task. Look at all the things you do in a day. Which ones really make a difference? These are your 20%, the task that gives you the biggest results. For Mike, it was calling potential clients and working on big projects. Number 2, focus on what matters. Once you know your golden task, give them your best time and energy. Mike started doing his important calls first thing in the morning when he was fresh and focused. Number 3, cut out the fluff. What about the other 80% of tasks that doesn't give you much in return? See if you can do them quickly. Hand them off to someone else, or maybe not do them at all. Mike realized he was spending too much time organizing his email. He set up some quick filters and suddenly had more time for important work. Number 4, quality over quantity. Remember, it's not about doing more, it's about doing what counts. Mike stopped trying to have long meetings with everyone and focused on having short, effective chats with key people. Number 5, keep an eye on things. Pay attention to what's working and what's not. You might be surprised to find that some things you thought were important actually don't help much at all. Now back to Mike. He started applying the 80-20 principle to his work. He focused on his most important clients and projects. He cut down on time wasting activities. And guess what? In just a few months, his business started to grow. He was less stressed, had more free time, and felt like he was finally moving forward. But here's the really cool part. Mike didn't stop with work. He started using the 80-20 principle in other areas of his life too. He realized that 80% of his happiness came from spending time with a few close friends and family members. So, he made sure to prioritize those relationships. He noticed that 80% of his health improvements came from just a few key habits like getting enough sleep, eating more veggies, and going for a walk each day. He focused on those habits instead of trying to follow complicated diet plans or intense workout routine. The 80-20 principle even helped Mike with his hobbies. He realized that he got 80% of his enjoyment from the 20% of his free time activities. So, He spent more time on those and less on things that didn't really care about. Now, I'm not saying the 80-20 split will always be exact. Sometimes it might be 70 by 30 or 90 by 10. The important thing is to understand that a small number of things often have a big impact. So, how can you start using the 80-20 principle in your life? Here's a simple way to begin. Number one, pick an area of your life you want to improve, as in work, relationships, health, whatever. Number two, list out all the things you do in that area. Number three, think about which of those things give you the best result. Number four, focus more of your time and energy on those high impact activities. And five, see what happens. Remember, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about doing less, but doing what matters most. Mike's stories show us that anyone can use the 80-20 principle to make big changes. He went from stressed and stuck to successful and satisfied. And you can do it too. So, are you ready to give it a try? Think about one area of your life where you could apply the 80-20 principle. What's the 20 percentage that could make 80 percentage of the difference? Thanks for tuning in. Remember, success isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things. Now go out there and find your 20 percentage.